President-elect Trump says he plans to get rid of the Department of Education. If he gets rid of the department, what will that mean for teachers and parents? Joining us now on Arizona Horizon is Arizona Education Association President Marisol Garcia. Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
So let's talk about this is the second time around for President-elect Trump. So there was talk at that time in 2016, 2017, he wanted to get rid of the Department of Education then. How much progress did he make on that? Obviously the department still exists, but are you worried that he will take deeper steps than he tried to years ago?
Yeah, I mean, we're in the sequel now of the first movie, and President Trump did try to dismantle, really appointing a previous Secretary of Education under Betsy DeVos, who had an eye for privatizing public schools. I think the rest of us know, most of us know, that the president understands the system now and may move a little bit quicker than we did before.
Let's get down to really brass tacks and details. What does the U.S. Department of Education do for a state like Arizona?
Sure. Well, we receive money from the federal budget directly into schools, particularly for students that are underserved, that are living in extreme poverty, special education students. My school, which we kind of call sometimes Title I schools, these are students that are living in extreme poverty. This allows us to have extra teachers, paraprofessionals, programs to make sure that students living in poverty have the same access to programs that other students have.
And Pell Grants as well.
Yes, yes.
So what options would be available for, when you hear talking about eliminating the entire Department of Education, is it possible that there would still be funding available? It would just be distributed in a very different way?
Yeah, I mean, I teach civics, so we've got 3 branches of governance. What that looks like is the legislature is going to have to figure out how to get this money to the states or cut it immediately. And that would be alarming. We would see mass layoffs, programs going away, programs that students desperately need. We're hopeful that we can put pressure on the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate to say, slow down, let's really look at this and how this would impact their constituents.
We know that there's a deep divide with Arizona's members of Congress. Obviously, there are some who are very right, some are left, some are in the middle. Could you see this group of members of Congress working together to try to keep some practicality alive, or would you see it sort of falling down really strict party lines?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that we can put politics aside for a little bit. I know I sound ridiculous saying that sometimes under the circumstances, but this is about kids. This really isn't about anything other than what's best for kids. And secondarily, the economy. I mean, educators, there's 100,000 of us in the state. Having folks losing their jobs, not having programs for their kids, after-school programs going away is a huge impact to the economy.
I talk about sort of the replacement concept of there being perhaps grants or something like that. Right. Could you really see the Department of Education completely going away?
I mean, this has been a talking point from the party since I was in college in 1994. So for us, this has been heard. It's going to take a long time to get through all of this, but we have to keep our eye on the ball on the day-to-day, 8 to 4 o'clock where kids are in schools, and they deserve great schools.
When you saw the person that President Trump was going to nominate, Linda McMahon, more famous for being married to the leader of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
What did you think about that appointment, or potential appointment?
Yeah, I mean, my first thought is our kids deserve so much better. Just having somebody who has worked in a public school, maybe administered public school funds, understood how public schools work. Also, somebody who's not intent in dismantling public schools and having private schools is something that U.S. Department of Education really prides itself in. So it's a part 2 to Betsy DeVos.
Is there a balancing act to be found when Arizona is obviously very well known for school choice, and that can be defined however people want to define it? Would we be better off in some ways if the Federal Department of Education were trying to find some balance in that as well? Do you think that Arizona, even if you have some issues with how Arizona carries things out, could the Federal Department of Education learn something from Arizona?
Yeah, I mean, they could learn that this decimates general fund monies and it makes every other institution that exists have to cut. And also the inability to fund one system healthy and trying to fund multiple systems at lower rates does not work. Public funds should go to public schools, and it allows them to be transparency and know what's going on, voters to know what's going on, and that's not happening.
What other concerns do you have? Obviously, the elimination of the department is one thing. Let's say that doesn't happen. President-elect Trump has also talked about other concepts. We also know that folks on the right have talked negatively about so-called DEI programs. There was also a group that had been supportive of book banning as well. So what are some other concerns you have if, in fact, some of these things are implemented?
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen a lot of this happen in Arizona. Luckily, Governor Hobbs was able to veto a lot of these bills. But I think what we have to remember is educators are professionals. Many of us have secondary, if not third degrees, PhDs in education, and we need to learn how to work together. Trying to split parents away from educators just doesn't work. We're there with kids every day. We want the kids to have a healthy opportunity to move forward. We want to work with parents.
Right, but so what are some other things that you're hearing, though, that might concern you more?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things that are concerning. Cuts to Social Security, things like that impacts, educators who retire. We're also concerned about working conditions. As educators, we're also part of a labor union family, and so we're concerned about safe working conditions. We're concerned about just not having more counselors, mental health supports that have also been politicized, and making sure schools are safe. The incredible discussions about coming in and walking into schools and potentially doing immigration raids. There's no way that I could be teaching 8th graders on a daily basis and get them focused in on passing one of my quizzes if they had threats of the military being used to deport people.
Considering the enormous amounts of money that the federal government gives to states, is there anything that, if you were optimistic about the state legislature and the governor, and I presume you're not too optimistic about the state legislature, but are there things is there more spending that, and we know money doesn't solve the problem, but probably the problems can't be solved without some money. What are some thoughts at the local level you'd like to see if, in fact, the feds do take some of these steps?
I mean, we really want to see investment in educator salaries. We want to see more adults on campus, not just counselors, but smaller class sizes. It allows me to spend more time with students who have individual educational needs. It also allows kids to feel safe and have other opportunities, field trips, sports. All of that takes money.
Okay. Marisol Garcia, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.